So, as you know, for the 2024 season, Marc Marquez is riding for Gresini Racing on board a Ducati. But there has been some talk about which Ducati he will be getting for the 2024 season. So it's been confirmed by Gigi Dall'Igna, who spoke to Moto.Italy. He confirmed what spec of bike Marquez is riding and why it isn't the latest version of the GP23 going into 2024. He confirmed that Marquez is going to be riding the bike that Johann Zarco finished the 2023 season with. Now, as you know, Johann Zarco announced near the halfway point or just after the summer break that he was leaving Pramac Ducati to go to LCR Honda. So obviously he wasn't going to get upgraded bits like Martin, Bastianini and Bagnaia. Ducati aren't going to give their private teams the latest spec of the GP23. Now, there was a difference between the two models at the end of the 2023 season. This picture on screen is the best I can find just to show you a direct comparison. It is Jorge Martin and Johann Zarco's bikes at the Australian Grand Prix. Now, if you look closely, you can see the highlighted version of Martin's bike. It has fork mounted winglets. But that isn't the only thing that's different with the Ducati. It's got the aero, how do you even call it, the wheel winglets you could say on the bike. It's also got a start device that is significantly upgraded and was only given to Bagnaia and Martin near the end of the season. Now, Enea Bastianini, I do believe, has got that device now and will get it from the start of 2024. But that is it. I don't think anyone else, maybe Frankie Morbidelli, will get it at some point. But there's only 3 riders that Ducati are giving this to. The bike that Zarco has is essentially the bike that he started the season on. It's a GP23. It's the bike that Marco Bezzecchi will use, Alex Marquez, Fabio Di Giannantonio, and of course Marc. What's the benefit of this? Now, Gigi did clarify why this is the case and why they're not giving them the upgraded bikes. He said, on the bikes of Pecco, Jorge and Enea, we introduced some evolutions, but what we introduced gave them some problems, both in terms of reliability and performance. So we do not believe that these evolutions that were introduced are easier to use in a private team, so we have preferred not to put things on them, as is sometimes the case. I know Ducati don't struggle for resource, but to have more people in these private teams to look at, you know, an updated version that everyone else has, just isn't Ducati's way. They think that it's easier for these private teams to just get not a more slimmed down version of their bike, but an easier bike to manage. But he did say that they do aim to give everyone the best chance that rides a Ducati. You know, the chance of winning races and world titles. You know, the real benefit of this, I think, for Marquez especially, he is jumping from the Honda and he's jumping on the bike that we've seen him ride in testing. He doesn't know any different when compared to other Ducatis. And it gives him a year's worth of track data information from Zarco. You know, he has the whole 2023 database to look at. And he'll have Martin's data, Bagnaia's data, everything. Everything is in there. And this is probably the best thing for him in terms of getting comfortable with the bike straight away. He doesn't have to test anything in regards to new parts, engines that he would have done if he was a factory Honda rider. And we've seen in the past that Marquez basically says he doesn't really like testing, he just wants to get on the bike, feel comfortable, and that'll be him. This is his chance now. We've seen in the past few years when a rider gets a satellite bike from, say, a previous season, they can gel with it straight away. I think of last year, I think of Marco Bezzecchi. He rode the GP22. Enea Bastianini in 2022, he was on the GP21 and he was instantly fast. There is a trend with these Ducatis. If you have the information there and you can just focus on a race program, dial in a comfortable setup, get comfortable with the bike, you'll be fast straight away. But then you see the progress of the factory teams and the teams that get the upgrades, you know, throughout the season, they do get faster. And that could be a negative also for Marquez. Yes, he might be fast at the start of the year and might have a little bit of an advantage as he's not having to test as much compared to the other teams on the Ducati bikes. But there is always a point where the factory teams will gain that back with upgrades throughout the season. So it is a benefit for Marc Marquez more than a negative, I believe. You know, we've seen in the past few years Ducati, when they bring out a new iteration of a GP22 to a 23, there's not much differences between the bikes. They are essentially the same, and I think we're going to get something similar in 2024. The 2024 model was tested by Bagnaia, Bagnaia and Martin, and I think it was shown that it doesn't really look any different. They'll have more work to do in the pre-season testing, while Marquez can just focus on the GP23 with all that information available, and this is a good thing. There's not much of a difference between the bikes, and he can also look at the information from the 24 and see how much of a difference there actually is. I believe it will be minimal, as Ducati have such an incredible base and a machine. Why would they change it? So there is more positives than negatives in this for Marc Marquez, but like I say, the big factor is, can he dial the speed in quick enough to start at the start of the year, really challenge for race victories? A lot of people saying it's going to be as easy for him to do that. You have to remember, he was fast in the Valencia test, but there's other factors into this. Ducati riders who know the bike inside out, they're going to have an advantage as well. And it might take a race or two for Marquez to work out how it is over race runs, tyre testing, just working out the limits of the bike. It's a completely different riding style for him. But I do think, like I say, there is way more positives for this than Marc Marquez than negatives. He can just focus on getting comfortable, and he has got the perfect team set up around him. You know, a family team, a smaller team. There'll still be pressure, of course, from him. He has an opportunity to really establish himself early on in this championship, as we've seen with Marco Bezzecchi last year. I've seen also people say it's Ducati's way of not trying to help Marc Marquez or hinder them. I don't really agree with that. You know, Ducati, as Gigi says, they want to give every rider that rides Ducati the best opportunity. Of course, the factory riders are the priority, and Pecco Bagnaia, as the double MotoGP world champion, he will have the priority because he is the world champion. Ducati, really, as I see it, they've worked so hard through all these years to get in the positions that they are. Why would they try and mess it up now? I think Marc Marquez knew what he was getting into when he signed with a satellite team, not a factory team. He seems pretty comfortable with that decision, knowing that he's not going to be a factory rider. And it's quite funny. We could see Marc Marquez win the Independent Rider Championship, which is something very strange because Valentino Rossi was entered in that in 2021. And yeah, it's a new change for Marquez in MotoGP, but I am certain that the decision for him to be riding the bike that Zarco finished the year on is a benefit, as yes, he might not be getting the fully upgraded GP23, but he has base already from all the information that is available to him for over a season package for the year. He knows what he's riding, and he can then focus on dialing in the best setups that he can for each circuit. And let me know what you think of this decision from Ducati. It was to be expected, but do you think they're making a mistake by not giving Marquez the latest spec of the GP23? Interested to read your comments. Make sure to like the video. Thanks for the support on the previous videos, it's been great. Subscribe if you are new, turn the bell notification on, and we will see you next time.